My writing is a very authentic journey of discovery. I'm going out there to learn who I am. My readers, consequently, take the same journey as my protagonist. Ted Dekker.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Lee Hull.
And I'm Lee Esses. And welcome to the brand new year. Happy 2022.
That's weird to hear.
With the new year comes a new month. With the new month comes a new series. This month's series will be talking about healthy habits for your writing journey.
This is a time of year where a lot of people try to reinvent themselves. They set resolutions, they try to get healthier, they try to kick bad habits, start new habits. So every episode, we are going to give you a habit to work towards and a practical step to practice that habit.
Now, there are a lot of numbers I've heard tossed around, but one of the most popular is 21. Doing something 21 times in a row will create a new habit. So each of these practical steps we'll be offering will include a do this for the next 21 days and see how your writing changes.
As we will focus on this episode, this whole month is going to be discovering yourself, discovering what is best for you.
We have spoken at length on basically every episode about writing selfishly. We even have an entire episode at the end of last summer that talks about what it means to write selfishly and how freeing that can be. But the selfish part is a lot more difficult to define than people might think. Today's episode, we're talking about self-discovery, what it looks like to write selfishly, what the word selfish means, which is incredibly difficult because it's different for Lee than it is for me, than it is for you, than it is for your writing buddies.
One step in the discovery process is to find out what kind of writer you are. Are you a plotter or a pantser?
Do you edit a whole lot in your second draft versus your first? I change maybe 10%.
I change basically 100%.
Pen and paper or a keyboard?
Or typewriter, if you like to go semi-old school. Are you introverted or extroverted?
Are you plot-driven or character-driven?
And that represents just how individual everybody's writing discovery is going to be. Both of us, we are best friends, we are authors, editors, we do a lot of the same things in completely different ways, because that's what works for us.
So answering any of these questions on our Versus episodes will help you discover what works for you. We encourage you to change that up. Try writing a character-centric if you're normally plot-centric.
Try plotting if you're normally a pantser. You might find out it actually helps a little bit. I say begrudgingly.
This series being about healthy habits, the habit we want you to build is that journey of self-discovery, of understanding what changes about your writing as you grow. Fingers crossed, your 10th novel will not look like your first novel. You will grow. You will learn what works for you and what doesn't.
First, build a habit of letting yourself indulge in guilty pleasures.
It takes a lot of introspection and a lot of courage to discover and admit what scares you about writing. It scared me for a long time to write from a villain's point of view. Now, that is what makes my writing unique and interesting. That is part and parcel to the voice of my writing style.
Writing romantic scenes used to scare me, but now it's something that I enjoy. It's really difficult. It's hard for me to write. It's my little guilty pleasure having those romantic scenes in a story.
We would also advise you to build a habit of changing up your writing style, of taking those risks and writing maybe in a genre you haven't tried before. Taking those risks is a habit that will change your writing style for the better.
If you're not exploring, if you're not going outside of your comfort zone, then you're not discovering anything new.
Also, build a habit of trying a different writing process. As a pen and paper author, try writing it on a keyboard. See what changes if you write in a coffee shop instead of at home. A large part of self-discovery as an author is your voice in your writing. How do we find our voices as we write?
It starts with mimicking authors you like.
That doesn't mean plagiarizing them. That means recognizing as you're reading that line worked really well, that the setup for that bit of dialogue was gorgeous. Understanding what good writing looks like to you so that you can then take those tools and employ it in your own story.
So when you're first starting on your writing journey and you're still discovering who you are as a writer, you are going to find that at times you're a little bit like this author, or a little bit like this author, or a little bit like this author. And you'll change the more you read and the more you write until you finally settle on your voice, who you are. And that is still going to change as you continue to write and continue to improve. This is helped by knowing what makes your perspective unique. So yes, you take inspiration and mimic other authors as you start, but then give it your own twist. What about your writing is unique? What life experiences can you use in your writing?
I really like how Ted Dekker paints good and evil. He does a great job of exploring evil in what I feel is a healthy way. I really like how Lee Child has fantastic action sequences. Something that is set up correctly, that is executed beautifully. I like both of these authors, so I am taking what I like from them and my experience in both regards and making it my own. That makes my writing unique.
Another way that you can find your voice is to make yourself your very first target audience. Write the book that you want to read. If you don't want to read it, why are you writing it?
And the most important part about finding your voice is to give yourself permission to explore, to get it wrong. Writing terribly creates the best writing.
It unlocks possibilities that you never would have discovered if you hadn't written it. I know this from personal experience. There was a very long time, at least a decade, where I let my fear of my writing not being perfect cripple me. It kept me from writing at all because I didn't want to get it wrong. I wanted it to be perfect on the first draft, and that just doesn't work. You're never going to get anything done, anything written, if you don't let yourself write terribly. So give yourself permission to make mistakes. Get it down on the page, and you'll see how much you'll improve by getting things wrong.
Another element of self-discovery is discovering a process that works for you. Discover checklists that work for you, because if you know that you have to fill out a D&D character chart before your character really feels fleshed out, you can have these steps along the way that feel like progress, even if it's not button share words on page. Discover these checklists that will help you decide who you are as an author.
So if you're working on that first draft, what do you need to do to focus? What sort of environment do you need to create? What sort of playlist do you need to have? Go through a checklist to make sure everything is in place for you to focus and write. And we will be talking about that a little bit later in this month.
We will also be talking about my editing checklist. I have that checklist so I can release my grip on a story. After I complete this checklist, my part of the story is done. That is a part of who I am as an author. I have discovered that having this editing checklist helps me write books.
And for me, because I tend to be world-driven, not necessarily character-driven and not necessarily plot-driven, I am a world-driven fantasy author. I have found that I need to have certain things about my world fleshed out before I can start writing. So I have a checklist of world and a little bit of character trait that I need to get down, that I need to write in order for me to actually sit and focus on a book. I don't plot, I just say, ooh, look at this really cool magic system.
So the healthy habit we want you to pursue and to spend the rest of your writing career pursuing is discovering who you are as a person. Like our opener said, every book is a new journey of self-discovery. So, for the next 21 days, I want you to write something that scares you every 3 days. So, if you're writing every day, every third day, whatever, for the next 21 days, that's until January 24th, write something that scares you. It could just be a kissing scene for the first time. That's scary for some of us. Write a swear word for the first time. On January 24th, look back on your writing and see if you like what happened.
And if you did, see if maybe you'll keep going with that. Keep trying new things, keep discovering more about yourself. Because it's a journey. All writing is a journey of self-discovery.
Write selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.